and welcome to another video, guys. Buckle up because today we're reviewing The Quiet Tenant by Clemence Michallon. In last week's video, if you guys recall, I did actually do my September TBR and this one was the first one on my list. And yes, this might be cheating a bit, but since last week was a long weekend, I actually devoured this book in just 3 days. If you follow me on Goodreads, I actually started reading it before September even started, but I did not, swear to God, expect that I would finish this book so fast. Now, a lot of people would say that this isn't actually a fast-paced novel, and I totally agree. In fact, me and so many others would regard this as a slow burn, but we'll get to the overall pacing and writing of this book in a bit. Let's start with a bit of a background of the novel. Quiet Tenant is actually written by a French author named Clemence Michallon, and I googled her and I'm totally obsessed. She looks like she's so classy and she just carries herself very, very well. And of course, because we stand talent in this house, you actually wouldn't know that this is her first novel. So straight off the bat, kudos to her and her editor. So The Quiet Tenant was also named as one of the most anticipated novels of 2023. And it's easy to say that this book has a very eye-catching premise. So at the core of this story is Aidan Thomas. He is a widower who lives in this small, unnamed town, somewhere I think in the Pacific Northwest or New England or, wherever these types of novels usually take place. I don't know because the author never really pays any emphasis on the town name or anything, just that it's cold and it's the total opposite of Florida. So on the surface, Aidan's like this super normal middle-aged guy. He's a widower, a model citizen, and a single dad. And people in the town are totally rallying behind him and his teenage daughter since they suffered an incredible loss after his wife passed away. And people just eat Aidan up. He's shy, he's a linesman, and he's super devoted to his daughter. He's every bit the model citizen, right? But no. Aidan has a secret, and she's been lying on his shed for the past 5 years. Straight off the bat, we meet the tenant. Her name is Rachel, or so we're told. Aidan's convinced that he's brainwashed Rachel into doing everything that he bids, including giving her a totally new name. And he believes so because he's done every unimaginable, horrible thing to this woman. He has SA'd her for the past 5 years, called her names, and gaslighted her into thinking that the only reason she is alive is because of him. The audacity. Things are about to get more complicated by Rachel and Aidan, as Aidan's been forced to move out of his current home by his late wife's parents. Miraculously, instead of, ending her life, Rachel manages to convince Aidan to take her with them as they move to a new part in town. This is totally new for Aidan. As we discover throughout the book, he rarely keeps his victims alive for so long. In chapters scattered everywhere in the novel, we discover that Aidan has claimed the lives of over 8 women already. Of course, trigger warnings. Aside from the obvious SA and, of course, the fact that Rachel has been held captive, the chapters detailing the women's last moments are very, very disturbing. Now, in order to survive, Rachel has to assume the identity of Aidan's cousin as they start anew. And aside from the fact that she's finally out of the shed, Rachel experiences another glimmer of hope. Rachel manages to befriend Aidan's teenage daughter Cecilia, and she finally decides that it ends here. She's going to find a way out one way or another. So this book has multiple POVs. Another view that we get is from Cecilia. We get bits and pieces of her life. We discover that she's lonely and she loves her father and that she's intrigued by the new tenant in her home. Now, I'm going to throw a new character to the mix, so hopefully you guys don't get too confused. But another POV that we get is from Emily. Oh my god, Emily, she was so naive and super frustrating. And that's because she was so like obsessed with Aiden. She saw him as the ideal man. She lusted over him and she wanted so bad to be a part of his life. But I think as readers, we naturally know what's like going on in the book. Like we know that Aiden isn't a good person. So I think I needed like to shift the way I saw her. Because, like the women in Aiden's life, she was also a victim. She was so easily gaslighted and manipulated by Aiden that as a reader, you'd be fearful for her life as well. So, all of this together drives the plot of The Quiet Tenant. I won't spoil the rest of the book because it's really a thriller drama. It's very character driven, so spoiling it won't be any fun. So, I actually gave this book a 3.5 out of 5 stars on Goodreads, but if you are a Goodreads user, you would know that it actually rounds up to 4 stars on the app. I think it goes without saying that Clemence Michallon is such a promising voice in the thriller genre. I love that there's so many women in the mystery or thriller book genre actually. Like we have Frida McFadden, Lisa Jewell, Stacey Willingham, and now Clemence Michallon. You know, I wouldn't say that the book isn't without its flaws. I really wish we'd understand what drove Aiden to do these things. I understand that it could just be because like that Michelin wanted to tell the story from a woman's perspective or from the victim's perspective, because doing it from the perpetrator's point of view, a little bit overrated. Like we need to hear from the victims more, something like that. So the chickens are deciding to talk with me, and all the motorcycles have decided to pass by. They were quiet a while ago. So yeah, basically a little insight, or I have to say like I need more insight into Aiden's past. That would have been great to really develop the character. Not that like you need a reason to be an awful person, but since the book does delve into the human psyche, it would have been nice to learn more about Aiden's past. Now, as for the writing, some of the writing of this book was a little bit cringe, but it wasn't like overwritten and it didn't harm the story in any way and never really pushed me to put the book down. I'm just putting this out there in case you're the type of reader who pays close attention to the writing. Another big flaw of this book was the ending. I think that the ending was a little too abrupt. Like we had the entire book building up this tension and all of a sudden it ended in a snap and I don't know how to snap my fingers. I had so many questions, like who were the women that Aiden kidnapped? What was his MO? Like, did his wife when she was alive suspect anything? Did his parents suspect anything? Did his parents-in-law suspect anything? We didn't have enough answers to these questions. There were so many loose ends. I would have also loved like involving the people in the town. Like I would have loved like to have a scene where the judge visits the house and then the tension rises. We just didn't have a lot of presence from the supporting characters. And another reason why this isn't a perfect 5-star read for me is because of the main POVs. Did like Rachel's voice, and I liked how different it was from Rachel's or Cecilia's. Like Cecilia's chapters were written like they were from the point of view of a 13-year-old. So I think kudos to the author for that. And there was so much wasted potential on the character of Cecilia. Like being Aiden's daughter, ironically, she wasn't as much as fleshed out of a character compared to the other women. Like she was just there to like conveniently move the plot. I wish we got more into her mindset. Like, what's her school life? Why was she feeling the sense of loneliness? And it's mentioned that she loved music and art. So it would have been nice for the author to develop that character and see how her common interest with Rachel really developed her relationship with her. Instead, we got like these weird Jeopardy scenes and all of a sudden they're besties. I don't think I'm the only one who would have loved to know what her reaction was when she found out about her father. Did she not really suspect anything going on? It would have been nice if we also got some close calls with Cecilia as well. The chickens are having a chorus. But I will stand by this. Overall, this is a really great debut novel, although it was a bit dry in some parts. But I'm really positive that Clemence Michallon can flesh out her writing, and this is just the start of what I foresee as a great career in the thriller genre. So finally, we are at the end of this video. Thank you for watching my review. I am reading Cleopatra and Frankenstein. I obviously got the cover out because I don't really like to keep the cover of hardbound books because they end up being folded. I didn't expect this book to be this long, so I think it's going to take a while for me to finish this book. I'm not so sure if I can film another review next week, but hey, I'll try. Anyway, if you like this video, click the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. I'll see you on my next video. Bye!